first episode of Me, You, Us podcast, the Us podcast. My name is Kevin Brooks, and I am coming to you today to welcome you into conversations that I feel like are important right now in these times concerning us. The Us podcast will feature everything that you can think of when it comes to Black people. We're not here to discuss what somebody else is doing. We're not here to discuss, their business. We are here to discuss our business. One of the biggest topics that's been coming about throughout the summer and the last several months, I researched to find out that it's been going on for decades. But I researched and interviewed almost 8 women between the ages of 24 to 60 years old. And some of the responses I got to this question wasn't necessarily puzzling, but I myself had to make some adjustments to how I view things. My special guest is someone that I've known for well over 35 years. We grew up in a similar neighborhood, definitely different households, but at the same time, with true respect for one another.
Hey, Kevin, what's going on? And thanks so much for having me on this morning. Hey, I'm Tasha Blue Smith. I am Harnett County born, reared, and raised. Came to Charlotte in the 1990 to go to UNC Charlotte, one of the best business schools. I'm glad that I did have that opportunity. I come from a family where my grandmother had 14 kids. It's over 300 and some now grandkids, and I was the first one to attend a 4-year university.
The topic today is, are Black men doing a proper job defending and or protecting Black women? If so, or if not, why?
To be honest, I do not think that they are doing enough to protect Black women. And I say that because it seems like a majority of the time on social media, I'm finding that I'm always having to educate some Black man on what the support of a Black woman means. So if I got to tell you what your support means, then that means that you're not supporting us. And it doesn't just mean that you go by with a gun and you're willing to pull it out or you're willing to fight for us. It goes so much deeper than that. Black women need love. We need security. We need to know that at all times there's loyalty, there's trust, there's honesty. We need to know that, if it needs to go down in the street, that you have our back. But what you're seeing right now is a lot of Black men are actually trying to argue against us and what is mattering. Black women, we're groomed to take care of family from day one.
And a lot of the things that you said, I witnessed with women. Like I said, growing up in a household where a woman worked 2 jobs when I was in high school. I worked, and my brother right up under me, he worked, but my mom still held down 2 jobs, although it was only 2 of my brothers left at home. And has always been that provider, always been the one standing in front. And to be honest with you, my mom did such a upfront job that I never kind of wondered where my dad was. Article written in 1985 by Eleanor Holmes Norton, who is still working in Congress right now. She's not a voting member in Congress, but she's still there. But at the time, she wrote an op-ed for the New York Times. And in that op-ed, she talked about the Black family and where it was going at that time based off of what she saw. And the question she asked is, what would society be like if the family found it difficult to perform its most basic functions? We are beginning to find out, and half of all marriages in this country end in divorce, and half of all children will spend a significant period with only one parent. Startling and unsettling changes have already occurred in Black family life, especially among the poor. Today, well over half of Black children in this country are born to single women. The question was, why are female-headed households multiplying now when there is less discrimination and poverty than a couple of generations ago when Black family life was stronger? Now again, I remind you that this article was written in 1985. I did some more research to find an article to find a quote from 1965. And this quote is by Martin Luther King speaking candidly about the Black family, spelling out the alarming statistics on the rate of illegitimacy, the increase in female-headed households, and the rise in families on welfare. The The black family, King asserted, had become fragile, deprived, and often psychopathic. So what we're seeing is potentially, well, factually generational. So being that said, what do you think about when you hear those statements like that about the black family?
It is so disappointing because that is a sad reality of life. And to see black couples actually trying to stick it out and make it does seem like it's a thing that we applaud when we do see that happening right now. Because I don't think people take it as seriously. They don't take that when you're out here procreating and you create these kids, the environment that you're going to procreate them into. I'm one of the blessed ones because my son's father is very involved in his life, even though we're divorced. But he makes that known. And that's one of the things he fights to maintain is his relationship with his son. And I don't intervene in any of that. There was no courts for us. We wrote our own divorce decrees. We made sure that we was gonna make life as stable as can be for him. And I think that's what a lot of people need to understand is that the fighting and the argument is what breaks those relationships and those bonds.
Give me an example of a way that a black man can protect or defend a black person in that position.
A lot of times it just takes stepping up to the forefront and defending her in the room where it looks like she can't be defended. And a lot of times, you know how in the black household we're raised to say, "Oh, that stays in the house." So even if it's something that you know she may have done wrong, you got to go ahead and sometimes chastise her in a space that everybody else doesn't get to be privy to. But you don't let her go out here and be mocked for society. So now you get a lot of black people who want to try to take out what the whole movement was about. But then I have to remember, we have to go back to Martin Luther King and him marching and the civil rights movement. And black people were against that too. And they thought it was about everything else. And then when white people said, J. Edgar Hoover said that Martin Luther King is one of the most dangerous men in this country. And then all of a sudden they put a tag on Martin Luther King's head as being a communist. And then not only was white people running with that tag, black people ran with it too. And only thing he was fighting for was equality, but they called him a communist. And when you put that communist tag on him, just like if you put a terrorist tag on somebody right now, it instantly makes them a danger to this world.
Racism and capitalism have trampled the potential of black people in this country and thwarted the self-determination. Initially, the physical characteristics of those of African descent were used to fit blacks into the lower niche in the capitalistic hierarchy, that of maintenance. Therefore, black women and men of today black and men and women of today must not encourage division by extending physical characteristics to serve as a criterion for a sexual hierarchy. If the potential of the black woman is seen mainly as a supportive role for the black man, then the black woman becomes an object to be utilized by mother human being. Her potential stagnates and she cannot begin to think in terms of self-determination for herself and all black people. It is not right that her existence should be validated only by the existence of the black man. The black woman is demanding a new set of female definitions and recognition of herself as a citizen, companion, and confidant, not a matriarchal villain or a step stool baby maker. Role integration advocates the complementary. Let me start over. The role integration advocates the complementary recognition of man and woman, not the competition recognition of the same. Role integration encourages a broader mental and emotional growth in black women and men as they share the responsibility of working towards liberation. Neither of them should be neglected to a narrow experience in life. Neither of them should have their potentiality for self-determination controlled and predetermined by the opposite sex. That is a type of slavery that will not deliver us as a people. That is a form of bondage which is an integral part of the racist and capitalistic system which black women and black men must work to oppose and overthrow. That is an excerpt from the Black Women's Manifesto written in 1969
Oh,
by
wow.
Gail Lynch. Again, this is obviously a problem that's been plaguing the Black community for quite a while. And again, my concern is that we don't let this feel like it's some sort of new phenomenon, and that we've been mastering this class or trying to master this class ever since our existence in these United States. And it's important for us to realize that we get better together. I cannot be better than my predecessor or my ancestors if I don't recognize what they went through. But I guess the challenge now is, how do we get Black men to understand that in order for Black women to understand that they get it, it has to come by way of display. How do we do that?
Malcolm X once said that when a Black man starts thinking like a Black man, then situation will change and Black communities will start to come together. And he said, and then there will be a problem, but only then will we be able to overcome a lot of things that have happened to us. I think it, like I said, I don't blame all Black men. We have some good brothers out there. I mean, even with you doing this podcast, you have some Black men actually thinking of ways to try to fix these situations.
The Us podcast is what it is. You know, I used to say in the barbershop, we are everything that we are. And you and I today have spoken candidly and honestly. That is the purpose of the program. Speaking on the absence and resounding importance to maintain that what God has given us is purpose. It is not debatable. It is not congressional and doesn't require a vote. Yet an acquired allegiance and practical approach can reveal ultimately that the answers we seek, however, do exist. And do so to build on whatever installments our ancestors deposited. We know that we can be productive without separation. So I'm going to do something today. Remember I told you I was working on the outro to the show?
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna be a lead here, my sister, and ask you to follow me, right? It may be corny, but hey, this is, I'm not known to be the most humorous person, so me making an attempt to be laughable is commendable in my book. So this is how it's gonna be. You, so you got to follow my lead. You, me, we,
us.
That's it. You, me, we, us.